we played for years in the clubs and bars, and that's where you really sharpen that without thinking it. You're playing to make the mortgage, the rent for the apartment, so to speak. And when you go into the studio, it is so completely familiar. What's the term in theater? You're off book.
Yeah.
You are so off book, you know it better than your home phone number. And you can, just as folks like yourself, when you're so off book, which, for those of you listening who are uninitiated, means you don't have to read the script at all. You know every syllable.
If someone wakes you up and says we're on page 40 and he just said, hello, you know what your line is. You're complete. You got it.
And you don't think about it at all, like getting into the car, closing the door, releasing the brakes, setting them. You don't think through those things. Your mind is somewhere else entirely.
No mind.
No mind.
The archer becomes the target.
Hello. And you become the studio, and you play the music. You don't play the studio. Your whole mind is on where this music is going to be, where it's going to sound, etc. But you're not playing the studio. Later on in your career, you will be tempted, if not completely induced, to go in and play the studio like it was a musical instrument. Wow, what's this button? Ooh, listen. It's echo, echo, J-A-A-A. Let's use this on everything.
Who produced Van Halen 1?
That was Ted Templeman.
Now, you guys were young, and you had you've been doing the clubs and hammering it out. But it seems, I don't know how I feel about record producers. This is a dichotomous relationship in my mind where they're the guy that can pull your best work out of you, but also they can really get in the fucking way. If you guys know exactly Running with the Devil and Ain't Talking About Love and all the, Atomic Punk and all those things, like you guys know those, like you said, no mind. Now all of a sudden you got a producer going, yeah, but how about why don't we bring in the horns for that number? How much of a producer, actually educate me.
These are good thoughts. These are clear thoughts.
A good producer, is it to just completely stay out of the band's way and every once in a while say, I think you want to dial that back a little, my man?
I think you have very clear thinking. This is a great question because if you're Whitney Houston, for example, in her prime, you are going to require as much attention as Manny Pacquiao, which means 110% from Freddie Roach. He's got to be there right down to, what'd you eat for breakfast? Show me.
Yeah.
What time are you going to be here for? Let me talk to your handler and make sure that's the truth. Is she going to be here at 11? I want to hear at 11:07.
Yeah.
And etc. And you'll have to handle that artist that way. For a group like Van Halen, the music was perfectly intact. None of the music was changed. Nothing was added or subtracted. But you have a group of guys who are just lit. We're hovering like a helicopter. When you're excited the night before something and your body doesn't quite touch the mattress, just your elbows and the backs of your heels, and the rest of you is just a little off the mattress. You can slide a paper back underneath, and you're like this. And when you walk into that studio, you're incandescent. You don't need flashlights. You got an aura like a burning tire. And it would require then somebody like a Templeman to go, hey, man, take it easy.
Slow it down. Oh, so that, okay, good.
Like in an ambulance. Half the job of an EMT in a New York State ambulance is to slow your heart down.
So Templeton, you guys came up. So we might have had a sped up Van Halen 1 if it wasn't for Ted Templeton.
We would have missed all kinds of interesting moments, and most artists, good ones, finish writing long after the ending. It's a good expression, isn't it?
Yeah.
Somebody's got
best art. You got to know. You got to know when to walk away from the easel.
Somebody says, "Hey, maybe 4 minutes on that solo is adequate." Don't get me wrong, boys. You are free birds. But maybe 4 is adequate.
None of the songs...
And you got to say it in a way that doesn't cause World War IX.
Did you guys use Templeton on the next one and on all the way through? Mutt Lange did Diver Down?
No. Templeman worked
so he was your
career.
guy.
All the way up through 1984. I think what we got 6 Van Halen. He was on all of them.
So
there.
because I'm in show business and I know
we'll call it spiritual guidance. The actual note for note and lyric for lyric was well intact when it came up into the light of day, and that's just a product of the Van Halens and I being very, very thorough. We have a work ethic that we rarely discuss, or at least up until just recently. As part of the magic trick is to make it all seem very spontaneous. And yeah, we just signed up to be pirates, and it turns out we're geniuses. Nah, there's 1,000 million hours of practice and boring repetition, and time to do vocal stacks again, and in this kind of a thing. And it's year round. The band rehearses up at Ed's place, and I maintain my chops in a number of international studios over and over, all year round, particularly when we're not touring that year. Most acts don't do that. They'll
well,
wait
you were
till
just in
about 6 or 8
Japan.
weeks.
Your girl, she's really cool. Shelley Toscano.
Thank you.
Has been helping out a lot. Super easy, accessible. A guy like David Lee Roth, you think there's going to be like this crazy batshit crew around you?
No.
Completely easy. And you pulled up. You see, we take ourselves very lightly around here.
We would fit into
Our
this
motto,
space perfectly.
Yeah, well, shit. Next time Van Halen wants to rehearse, I think this garage is a perfect place. Do it, Dave. Don't fuck me on this. This is a big thing I'm betting on, Dave.
Rehearse. This looks like our bedrooms. Cut to the crash, man.
It's
the rehearsal space is usually pretty clean, or you lose stuff.
Yeah.
The rehearsal spaces are very well organized because our road crew are snap, crack, and pop. They're the best in the universe. It's the treehouse at home that is Spanky and our gang, which is how we run the show.
I miss our gang.
Oh, clearly,
So Templeman, the first one, he just tells you ease down, slow your roll. But I gotta guess when you going all the way up to like 1984, only because I'm a comic, I'm an actor, I know my own personal enormous ego and self-worth that I feel. By the time if it was me, by the time I get to 1984, I'm telling Templeman, I got it, bro. I got it. Did you guys ever butt heads? Did Templeman, or did he evolve with you guys to accommodate? Because you guys did know more of what you were doing from the first Van Halen album. Does that make sense?
Certainly.
Okay.
And you know what? It's as simple as, a lot of times when we describe thoughts like these, and they are articulate thoughts, it leads towards the intangible, the spiritual. And for Van Halen, it's mathematic. We rush. We play everything 3 beats a minute or 7 beats a minute faster than it should. And I, for example, am really hyperactive with absolutely no attention deficit syndrome. You can come back here 6 hours from now. I won't even have changed my legs. But I'll be talking even a little bit faster, man. And the Van Halens are the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's a case of somebody who is dispassionate saying, whoa, slow down in there. Don't use it up in the first 3 rounds. You got 12 tonight, kid.
So the relationship stayed the same.
It is very, it's tangible what a producer brings to the Van Halen proceedings. An outside view, for example, of when I'm doing the lyrics, it's something as simple as, do you understand what I just said? Or I'll try on somebody and I'll say, beat's working. What does that mean to you? And one person will go, well, that means when you're on vacation and you're in a hammock and you look over at your gal and you go, woo, sure beats working, doesn't it, honey?
But with your lyrics, it always be quadruple entendres.
I wanted to see who actually picks up the actual meaning, which means like when you get in the middle of the dance floor and the beat's working on you.
Okay, yeah. There's always a triple entendre to a Diamond David Lee Roth lyric.
The producer is most likely the one who would go, Dave, they're never going to get the second part. Throw it away.
They don't have to get it.
Or at least advise you, that...
if they smoke enough grass, they're going to get all 6 versions of your lyric.
Well, it'll go by a little slower.
Whose idea was it? did you guys? All right, I remember when 1984 came out, and I want to talk again. Everyone has to go check out the Roth show. And as far as existential stuff and as far as spiritual stuff, this is the place, man. This is good. I dig it. When Eddie Van Halen decides to play organ on Jump, people lost their minds. They're like, here's one of the greatest guitar players of his generation. He's going blink, 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 blum, blum, blum. That was very brave of you guys, and it worked. It was a huge hit. When you hit Templeman with that, does Templeman go, what are you guys doing? Or was it embraced as, I like it? What was his response to that? Or what was the response within the band? Did you guys argue about that at all?
Well, you got three different thoughts going here.
I do.
When we did Jump, if you think about it, it works mechanically the same way what most of Ed's verses in songs works. You know, something like Running with the Devil is da, 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 over and over. Da, 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 just repeat that. It is the same hand.
I found the simple life.
Exactly.
Oh, it's in my blood, Diamond.
Jump
Dave.
is almost
It's in
the
my
same
blood.
thing. Just change a couple of the cards around, like 3-card Monte.
Yeah.
Over. It's the same kind of hand. It's the same feel. When we switched over to keyboard, think of it like, well, you know, the great master would look at you and go, oh, so you're good enough with that brush and that black ink and all the variations that you can do all the calligraphy characters in Chinese. You can do all the paintings of snow, air, light, wind, and etc. You're good enough to add a little color now? Okay, let's see what you can do.
Right.
And in the greatest paintings in calligraphy, you'll see a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of green in the leaves. Just a little bit, just enough to wake you up.
And that was the little.
Hello.
I love it, bro.
Hello.
How much?
By the way,
Yeah.
Hello, that's Yiddish for yo.
When you write a lyric, is there a phrase that gets stuck in your mind and you carry around with it? Are you carrying it for a month or so before you go, I might as well write this down. I can't shake it. Or do you hear music and then try to apply lyrics that fit the paradigm of the music?
I write constantly. There's notebooks around me constantly. All right, so that I'm always compiling notes of if somebody says something interesting, or if you see a song, a book title, or a movie title that may lead you to something else.
Let me know if I'm the one that said it though in the liner notes.
Of course. In the liner notes.
I want to thank Jay Mohr for saying fled split.
You know, in the liner notes. If we were doing Broadway, there's a song.
Yeah.
If you were doing something like Chorus Line, well, that's a song. Dot, 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 in the liner notes.
Yeah.
That's actually a title or something.
You're right. Good.
Somebody was talking to me recently the other day. They said, are you familiar with Jay's work? Oh, no, man, he's seriously funny. And I thought, seriously funny? That's a great title.
That is a great title.
And what does it, it can mean 16 different things.
He's seriously funny. It's like it's an oxymoron like military intelligence, jumbo shrimp, seriously funny.
Well, it can also mean that when you turn the sound off on the TV, I can't tell if it's drama or comedy.
Yeah.
That's, and...
Not a lot of drama running through these veins.
Okay. Well, but the best
I'll pull
comedy,
my pants down and run down the street if it'll make my neighbors happy.
All right, that's great deflection. The best comedy comes out of the most pain.
But I don't know if I don't. Yes, but I don't see a lot of people from Auschwitz taking the mic at the local comedy club. But I do see a lot of comics that are very self-obsessed and self-absorbed. That I think bring their own pain. If you want to go back to the masters, I think. They never set their luggage down. They never put the baggage down to be free on stage. You seem completely unencumbered with any baggage, any weight, like a hot air balloon. There are no sandbags on Diamond Dave when you're on stage. Like you're just completely free. You're doing it. You're there. You're present. And I don't think the comics today come from a place of great pain. I think there was a time when that was true. I think great music.
That's articulate. You know what? I'll agree with you on that.
I think great music back in the day, like the rhythm and blues and stuff, came from great pain. But I don't know if like Richard Belzer or Dennis Miller or George Carlin came from places of great pain. I just think you're born a comic.
They were more observational, perhaps.
Storytelling.
They were great witnesses.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Should we leave all this shit in?
Oh, yeah. Ambient, man. It's the backyard.
But the comics today just